Hey YouTube, welcome back to my channel. My name is Dion and this is Cotton Candy Chapstick. I call this the crazy troll nation of YouTube. The crazy is because I read text messages when I'm doing my intro. The crazy just enjoying your channel and enjoying the channels that you watch. And the troll part is not caring too much about what the beauty community standards are. You set the standard for yourself. Watching videos, you may feel like, I need that palette, I need that brand, I need that particular brush, I need to do the technique exactly how they're showing it. No, you don't. Use whatever you want to use, however you want to use it, because you need to be satisfied with how your makeup looks. Beneath all of that, self-acceptance and self-love. Embrace your natural features, enhance them if you want to, when you want to, but never feeling like you have to. Love yourself for who you are and for how you look, even without face paint on. That is the concept of the crazy troll nation. Just doing your own thing and loving yourself. I do use foul language on my channel sometimes because I do use foul language in real life sometimes. Uh-oh, we have a teary eye coming on. Yeah, so you see from the title what this video is about. There will be timestamps, and so if you want to skip this part of me showing you what's on my face, feel free. I would love for you to stay on to hear it all though, because I am really digging this base face. So yeah, so let's just do that as quick as possible so then we can get into the look. I of course did not do my brows. I am hoping I don't forget to do them later. I primed my face with the Milk Hydro Grip Primer and I used the Rare Beauty Foundation 360W. I put that all over, of course. I did not use any concealers. I then took, I put it away, my Hourglass Soft Light Powder. No. Did I use the wrong powder? I think I used the wrong powder. I was wondering why it looked different. I meant to take Soft Light, because this is what I used to set my under eye, but I actually took Radiant Light to set my under eye, and I was wondering why it looked really glowy because I used the wrong powder. So this is under my eye today, but I do like how it looks though. A little more radiant than I'm used to, but I was like, something looks different because Soft Light is softer. It's not as glowy as this. So then I set my face with the Fashion Fair Set It Loose Powder in Truly Tawny. Then I went into my Natasha Denona Diamond and Blush palette. I haven't used this for a while. This one is 02 Citrus. And we used quite a bit in here. We used the cream highlight base. And then we put on the cream blush base here. Then I took, what did I do next? I took the blush. This is the powder blush. And so that's this that you see here. Then I took Citrus. This is a dual chrome highlight. So this that you see right here, that's what it is. And so you see how the color changes. I didn't use a lot because you don't need a lot. And then I tapped into this shade here, which is a glow powder. And I just lightly tapped it, not with my hands though, with a brush. Lightly tapped it. This is also a glow powder, but it's more sparkly, and I didn't want the super shine for this look. So we used everything in this palette for this base face except this one. Then, because I wanted to see how I was liking it as a bronzer, Pat McGrath bronzer, and this one is, excuse me, Bronze Nirvana. And this is the one when I did the demo video, first impressions video, I was saying it looked orangey peachy on me, and so I put it here, just right here, because my concern was it being orangey peachy, because someone did say it would be, in their opinion, a better bronzer for me than Desert Glow, which was more rustic, a little more brown, it was a little deeper. And my concern was, if I put an orangey peachy bronzer, if I'm using like a red tone blush, it's going to look backwards, because usually the lighter shade is here and the deeper shade is here. So that was my concern with using this as a bronzer. But I put a little bit right here into the hollow, which you can see my natural contour. So I put a little here, and I did the other side. And I'm like, okay, make sure I blend it. And then I took just a tiny bit here, and I use bronzer as contour too. So when I'm putting it here and coming along here, that's the contour part. And I put a little here, a little on my nose, tapped some across my forehead and blended it in. It did not show up too much on my forehead because my forehead is not the same shade as this part of my face. But I am really liking this combination. And it does look natural. It doesn't look too much. Doesn't look like I have a bronzer on. No, except just like right here because it's a little bit darker. So I am liking this though. I think it'll just depend on what look I'm going for that day. And then after all of that, I took my Hourglass powder in Dim Light. I use this as a finishing powder. Big fluffy brush. I know, Tanya, you love big fluffy brushes. And I put this just kind of all over to blend everything in. So that is everything on my face so far. And I'm friggin' digging it. I'm just like, yeah. And yes, I did put those cream products on top of after I set my face. And I know people say don't put creams over top of powders, but you can do it. And I think it depends on your brush, if you're really heavy-handed or not. But look at this whole situation. And the reason I also wanted to use the Natasha Denona cheek situation is because, as you know, we're using the Natasha Denona Triochrome palette for the first time, or Triochrome. I think Triochrome, because Trio is 3 and there's 3 dual chromes in here. And I've heard and seen from swatches that these 3 dual chromes, multi-chromes, whatever, are very lackluster. And that's fine for me because if you look through my looks, I like dark, smoky, the messy grunge type looks, and it doesn't always call for the wet look, the high shine. And so if these are lackluster, which I believe they may be, it's fine for me because of what I prefer for myself. I was going to do a series of looks, 1 look each video, but I think I'm going to do 1 look each eye, but I'm going to kind of use the same technique, and I'm going to layer. And I am holding it upside down. I was looking for the lid, but that's reflective too. So we're going to use the top row and we're going to use the middle row. My concern is shades like this, these 2, this one, they tend to look ashy on me on my complexion and on my undertone. And so that's my concern. But we're going to just get into a look, 1 with this row, 1 with this row. I do have brushes pulled out. Hopefully I don't forget anything. I have eyeliners pulled out, which I'm excited for. So hopefully things will go as I anticipate them going. I just realized I didn't spray my face, and that is okay. Yeah, so let me know what y'all think about this base face and Bronze Nirvana as a bronzer, because I felt like if I used Love Struck or Paradise Venus, which are deep blushes on me, I have to go in with a really light hand. My concern was it wouldn't look right with Bronze Nirvana as a bronzer because those are such deep blushes. But yeah, so I'm gonna keep playing around with it because I do like the shade of it. That was the Fenty eyeshadow primer, which you probably knew because that's my go-to primer. And I do keep reminding myself to experiment with the different eyeshadow bases, the Melt gel liners, paint pots, and MAC Fluid line as shadow bases for shimmer and sparkly shades. Particularly recently, one of my new acquisitions is the Mothman palette, because there's only 2 mattes in that palette, and so it is on my list. I don't know if it was Dawn or someone else that said they would love to see that, or maybe it was Alicia. I'm not sure. Forgive me. This is what happens when you start name dropping. You drop the wrong names, or I dropped the wrong names. But someone was curious to see that, and I do want to do it. It is on my list to do, just to see how the shades will turn. I dropped it and it went face down into Vert, this shade here. So let's put that away. So we're going to, thank you for being here. I hope you have a snack. I already know this is going to be super long, and because we're going to do both eyes simultaneously, not exactly, but we're going to do the same technique, one eye and then this eye, and because we're doing that versus starting this one, edit out the other eye, this video is going to be hella long. So the first thing, we're going to do Hourglass number 3 brush. I'm kind of torn, but we're going to take Ion, this shade here, and I'm wondering if this is, oh, this is powdery. I should have looked up her formula for these shades. I do love her creamy matte formula. I love her cream to powder formula. This is feeling a tad dry. I'm having, when I went to go like this to blend it, it wasn't. And I think I needed to just cover the primer first. For me, the Fenty primer is a tacky primer. My lids are not dry, they're not oily. I know for other people, the Fenty primer is not a tacky primer, but for me it is. And so I'm not always able to just place a shadow and then right away start blending it because the shadow is sticking to the primer. And so even now, like this is, and it's, I do believe it's the primer, because for the shadow to be that powdery, you would think that it would blend. We're going to take this up into the transition area, and I'm wondering now if I'm going to have trouble blending. And I know some people set their primer with powder, a translucent powder. I find that when I do that, my eyeshadows don't show up as well because I'm layering them over top of powder versus on top of the primer, if that makes sense. And whether that makes sense or not, we are going to layer over top of this shadow with another color. So, what's the difference between translucent powder or an actual eyeshadow? But we're not doing this to set. We're doing this as a shadow base. And I was wondering, this is what I was going to say earlier. I was wondering if this was going to look like one of the lime greens. Again, this is the shade here. In the Martine Mission Triple X palette, because there's a lime green in there, like a bright green I should say, and a bright yellow, but when I put them on, they're not bright, and that it makes it perfect for me, those as transition shades. And I really do like those shades, because initially I'm thinking, oh, this green is bright, and when I put it on, I'm like, oh, she real cute. So that's that eye. So we're going to put that brush down, and we're going to take, I feel stuff on my nose. We're going to take a clean Hourglass number 3, and we're going to go into Redox, this shade here. And so we're going to do the same thing on the other eye, and this one is powdery as well. And we're going to, surprisingly, this isn't making me look really ashy, and it may be my undertone. My undertone is so weird. I was so excited, well, not excited, but I felt validated, that's the word, when I was watching the Danessa Myrick masterclass that was months and months and months ago. And she was saying how, okay, when you look at the model, because of course they had on like a black tank top, so you saw, you know, their shoulders, you saw their neck, you saw their chest, and you see their neck here, and you see their face. She was saying, what colors do you see? And so even though it was a chat thing, because it was over Zoom, you know, people were commenting, I see coolness, I see some red, I see some neutral, I see this, I see that. And Natasha was saying, no. Danessa was saying, most people, we do not have just one solid undertone, or our complexion is not just one solid color. And I felt so validated, because when I look at my face, even though I have foundation on and a bunch of other stuff, you can see differences. Like this right here, this is really light, and it's light here, this isn't. This is different shade up here, and even as you can see the bronzer here, it doesn't show up on my forehead. My forehead is a little deeper than the rest of my face, and actually the perimeter of my face is deeper than the interior of my face. And so even though I'm golden overall, like look here, like this is just straight gold yellow. Like this and wearing this shirt, it's just like you're just blending into the wall here. And I always said, well, once I really started paying attention and trying to figure out my undertone, also when I have foundations that's a perfect match and I'm looking at how they describe the shades, that helps with figuring undertone too. And so overall I'm golden. This area here leans neutral. my forehead and my chin area leans olivey. And so that's what made it hard for me to find a foundation that would match me. And I'm not into mixing foundations because I never mix them equally and then I end up wasting. So we're going to take, this is a Esom, this is a Scott Barnes. This is an Esom V27 brush, and we're going to go into Scarab, this shade here. And we're using a smaller brush. This does appear to be creamy. I admit that I'm concerned about these 3 shades. I'm still figuring out, only because time has been preventing me from just sitting down and finishing. Like, what are some ingredients for pressed pigments? Because my lids do not tolerate pressed pigments, and mica is one of the ingredients for pressed pigments. And I couldn't even say, well, Natasha Denona would put on the packaging, you know, such and such is not considered eye safe in the US, because she also was saying, you know, something was vegan and it had carmine in it. And so I didn't want to go by that. But these 3 shades have mica in it, which is known to be an ingredient for pressed pigments. And so I'm kind of like, am I going to regret this? And also that's why I said, let me just do 1 look each eye, because if I do have a reaction, at least it's just not 1 look. At least I can get 2 looks done before I do something else with the palette. I like what this did, layered over, it goes on really smooth, layered over that, over this shade. I like this. I'm liking this. So we're going to take a clean one, and we're going to go into this one here, and this is Kinetic. And this is very smooth as well. That's this shade. And I should have tried to show you what the shifts were, but we'll see them on the eye. So we're going to put this here, and this does not, am I using the right side of the brush? Because I'm not seeing hardly anything. Okay, yeah, it's more purple. Yes, I do see what people were saying. I do wonder if I put this directly on primer, would it show up more? And I do think it would, but because I'm concerned about these 3 shadows, excuse me, with mica in it, I was like, do I really want to put that directly on my skin on top of primer? So that was another reason why I said I'll just layer. And you can see the shine when I do this. And yes, it's definitely not like the typical I'm sorry, I was reading a text message. I have another late night text buddy, and it is awesome. Oh my gosh, why? When I looked at the time, we had a text conversation for like 3 hours straight, from like 4 in the morning to like 7 in the morning. I kid you not. And I'm like, okay, we both need to go to sleep. But it was really cool though, because I am nocturnal. And so sometimes I do feel like chatting, and I'm like, oh, everybody I know is kind of sleeping. I did not, oh, good grief, Charlie Brown. We will do something with that later. I didn't mean to take that out that far. So as you see, these shades do show up and blend out. I did really think this was going to be deeper. I thought it was going to show up darker, and we put it over a light shade. So I was going to put it over this one, but we're going to use that for transition. But now I'm thinking we should have switched it and put this as a base, put this on top of it, and then put this as a transition. But I was concerned with it looking dusty. So that's what we're going to do for that. We're trying to just get the same shape, even though it's a different eyeshadow look on both eyes. This is spreading. Like this just moves so friggin' easy. And that's how I'm going too far. We're going back to the one that had this shade on it, just to try to get it the same. Like, these are very creamy. They're going to go even where you don't want it to go. Wow. And that went too far. Okay, let me just stop. Okay, put that down. We're going to take, this is a Scott Barnes number 63, and we're going to go into Scrap. This shade here, which looks deeper in person. And, ooh, wrong eye. And I coated the wrong side of the brush. So we're going to put Scrap here, because this is the top row look. And scrap is not, okay. If you have this palette, let me know what your thoughts are on it. I know a lot of people were disappointed in it because they thought the dual chromes, whatever, were going to be dual chromes or multi-chromes, and as you can see, it's just a shimmer. And so this one, you can see the pink and purple. This, you can see the differences in the green, but it's really not a lot. And if you're into the shimmer, you're into the high shine, the wet look, this is not going to do it. So I do understand why people were disappointed. We're going to just sweep this way. And so I am liking this. This is a basic look. This is very basic. I do like how it's looking. We're going to take a clean one and go into this shade here, which is manganese. And we're going to put that on the outer corner. We're only 20 minutes in. I thought it was going to be longer than this. Maybe because I started out feeling like I was just jacking because I was so happy with my base face. And so, wasn't I going to use this for transition? I don't know. You know what the idea was? And I chose this brush intentionally because this is a brush that I'll use and then just turn it and let it go into the transition area. And this purple is still like way out there. So maybe we'll wing out our liner. I'm liking this for what it is. I'm thinking I can do a look similar to this with the Rock and Roll Beauty Coffin palette. We're going to blend this way. And also with Nomad's Iceland Fire and Ice palette. And that's something I think about too. If I'm gravitating toward a certain look, I'm like, I could do that with other stuff. But this is still a different type of palette. So, and I'm not always good about mixing palettes. Even though I don't mind, but I need a reason to. Like if it's a challenge and I just need, you know, a certain look or a certain color, yes. But just in general, whatever palette I pick up, that's what I'm going to use. And so it's not intentional that I do just kind of stick to that one palette. We're going to take, this is an Esom V33, and this I think I need a smaller brush. I do. Hold please. This is Makeup Geek Outer V brush, and we're going to take Vert, this shade here. Because initially I was going to take a fluffier brush and go in with this shade, and then use a tapered brush and go in with Vert. But because this shadow went so far up, like it did it on its own, because I took it so far up, that would not have worked. So we're taking Vert, and we're going to just go along the line very gently. And I'm not a fan of taking shadow up to my brow bone, but because I took that lid shade so far up, that scarab shade so far up, it's like, okay, what are we going to do? Because we're here now. So this is just going to be under our brow. And it's not really showing up. So this would be a good transition shade for me, or a good blend out shade for me, because it's not there. And so we're just going to do small circular motions over here just for blending purposes, which I don't really think it needs it. So we are just going straight in, tapping off and just lightly feathering, very lightly, and then going into small circular motions and windshield wiper motions and motions. So I'm missing not having my brows done, because there's just, the color is just like tapering off into nothing over here. And I think that'll remind me to do my brows. Straight on is okay, but when you turn sideways, it's like, what? What's happening over there? Clean one, and we're going into tungsten. We're going into We're going into tungsten. Tungsten. That shade, this one right here. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to just place that on the top edge. And this shade is kind of the same. It is more noticeable just because of the tone of it. But as you see, it is really good for blending. I saw some really artistic looks with this palette, and I'm like, okay, how'd they do that? Okay, that's a little dusty because you see how you can see that peach line, that pink line, where this side it just all came down. So we're just going to blend here, and we're going to go back to the brush that had Kinetic on it, the center shade. We're not adding any more shadow onto the brush, but we're just going to press and just swipe back and forth right there because I'm not liking the line that created, and now it's just all blended in together, and that is okay. Back to the brush that had tungsten on it, and we're just going to do this right here. So if you have this palette, let me know your thoughts on it. I feel like I asked that earlier, but there was like a part 2 to that question that I didn't say because then I started talking about something else. I'm not against colors going up to my brow bone. It depends on what color. And I am liking both sides of this. So what are we going to do now? We're going to do this. I feel some teariness coming on. I do have my AC on, and there is a vent like right up here above me. So when it kicks on sometimes, because you know air is blowing in my face, it does that. So I think we're done. So both of these rows, we used all the shades except we did not use this one and we did not use that one. So we will come back, excuse me, and put those, what am I saying? Y'all know what I mean. You probably really do, which is scary. We're going to use those for our inner tear duct area. For right now though, we're going to mix it up. And because we're doing a two-tone look, meaning a look, 2 different looks that we could wear out, I'm going to take an olive green. These are both NYX retractable eyeliners under this eye. And we're going to take a deep purple and put under this eye. So we're actually going to do that and then come back. And we're actually going to put these on our lower waterline too. So we're going to do all of that and come back. As you will see, we took the green out to here and we took the purple out to here. And that side looks a little janky. Looks thinner. This line I did good on. This side, I don't know what happened. So we're just going to make it a little bit thicker. And me having wrinkles makes it challenging to do a line here without pulling it. But then when I pull it, the line ends up distorted. And so I don't like to do that. We're going to put shadow there anyway. So we're just going to leave that. This eye is really tearing and it is starting to annoy me. Hold, please. We're going to go back into the palette. And for both lower lash line and tear duct, I have 4 of these. These are the Fenty number 220 brush, and just in case you didn't believe me, when I like a brush, I get more. So we're going to take Scarab, this one here, and that's going to go under this eye. We're going to take Kinetic, this shade here, that's going to go under the other eye. So if you're wanting to do a 2-tone look that you could wear out, now granted you can wear anything out you want to, but if you want to tie the looks together, this is a way to do it. You have the purple here, you got the purple here, you got the green here, you got the green here. So it ties the looks together even though they're 2 different color stories. Somebody's comment, they said green and purple was like one of their favorite color combinations, and I was like, but I think they meant in one look. But then this says purple and green and this says green and purple. So we're going to take the 2 clean ones and we're going to take this shade here, and this will go in a tear duct area for this eye because this is the top row eye. So you know what, these pastel-ish type shades in here are not horrible. We're going to put that down. We're going to take a clean one and we're going to take, that shade was Androdite. And now we're going to take Naga, N-A-G-A. What is that? And we're going to put that here. My eyes are tearing. I can feel it. These pastels aren't bad. And maybe because I did some layering for the first 2. We're going to, do I want to do that? Yes. We're going to take Esum V33. I have 2 of them. This is a clean one. And we're going to take Ion, this shade here. And we're going to just tap straight in very lightly. And we're going to blow that out over here under the green. I don't know if that's making a difference. I just tapped in again and tapped off. The side is starting to tear down. I can feel it. We're going to take a clean one and go into Redox. Is that the shade we use for transition up here? Yes. So we're going to take that one and we're going to buff this over here. I'm so far, first impressions, and maybe because I like the looks, even though I can do both of these looks with other things, it's nice to have a palette where you have options. I am liking this. And the pastel shades aren't as awful. This is back to this shade. It's not as ashy as I thought I would look, but I do still need to tweak. Oh, that is wet right there. I can feel it. Shoot. Shoot, shoot, shoot. All right, we need to, well, not we, I need to hurry up because the tearing is getting worse. My eyes are not burning though, so got a hiccup. So we're done with the palette. This is the fun part, and this is the part I'm excited about, and I need my melt liner brush because that's the only one where I can seem to get a thin line with the melt liner. So where is that brush? You know what, I'm gonna just take a different brush just because. We're going to take 2 Esum T03 brushes. They're the same, but one is longer than the other. And we're going to take MAC's Fluid Line and Macro Violet. That's this shade. We're going to put that over here. So again, we're tying in the colors. I haven't used these brushes in a long time, and so that's why I wanted to use these for this look. And for whatever reason, it always takes me moments to find the melt liner brush. And all my liner brushes are together. I think it might be shorter than the other brushes or something. I don't know. It's just not one that I can just grab and be like, oh yeah, this is it. I have to like search for it. And these are my liner brushes. Like, there's not even that many brushes in here. But I think, yeah, you know what, it's shorter than the other ones because I just seen it and then it disappeared again. So hopefully with the melt liner, I can, with this brush, the clean one of course, I'll be able to get a thin line on my upper lash line. So even though these are both purple, you do see that it is a double wing. Look at this eye. Oh. The good thing is, because it's shimmery under here, it kind of camouflages the tears. I'm just making up stuff. So we're going to take a clean one, and we're using Fortune. Yes, y'all, I had a plan. And hopefully I can get a thin line with this brush. When Melt had their, whatever sale it was, their 30% off sale, I was like, oh, I'm gonna get some more of the liner brushes because I only got one because I didn't know if I was gonna like it, and I got it, and I'm like, this was the only brush I could use to get a thin line with the Melt liner, and I paid half off for it because it was a 50% off sale, and so I paid $11 for it. So I kept saying, when there's a sale, I get more, because when I like a brush, I get more. And when they had their 30% off sale, that brush was not even on the website. And I'm like, this is the thinnest line I've gotten using a non-melt liner brush for the melt liner. So I am pleased with that. And I talked through it, so that's amazing to me. We're going to just go straight to mascara because I picked this up, but I don't want to use it. The e.l.f. Lash and Roll. We're not. I like other stuff better. I just do. No. Max Stack Mascara. I know, y'all. I know. I'm going to edit this out. This is going to go on top and bottom lashes. And while I'm doing this, I'm going to figure out a lip because we need something that's going to go with both. Unless I be funky and do like green over here and purple over there. But we're not going to do that. But I am digging the eye look. So while I'm doing this off camera, the mascara, let me know what you think of the two-tone look. And would you wear this out? I think we have decided on a lip, and I'm hoping it looks right. So we're just wiping off chapstick right now. And we're not going to come back because we're right here. We're going to put on Max Caviar. This is black. I'm going to edit this out and come back. On top of that, we're going to put Maybelline's Glitter Fix Glitter Lip Gloss, and this is Shadow Hunter. And I'm hoping this will pull out, well, not pull out, but I'm hoping that both the green and purple will show up in here because this is a duochrome type lip gloss. I'm going to edit this out. I'm going to say the lip goes because it's my signature black lip with a little gloss on top. And a black lip to me goes with everything, like seriously. So this is the finished look. Let me know what you think. Would you wear this out? Would you wear this two-tone look out? And again, an easy way to do a two-tone look to tie it in. Purple up here, purple over here. Green up here, green down here. You see what I'm saying? And with the liner, I'm liking that I was able to get a thin line with the melt liner over here with the Esom brush. So that's very encouraging to me. And I am liking the double wing. This side is more noticeable because the liner on upper lash line is a lot darker than the lower lash line. But I am still liking that. My brows, see? I'll be right back. I think that helped a lot. There is a gap right here I'm not happy with, but we're not going to overdo it. So thank you for being here. And the same questions still apply. Let me know what you think. Cheek situation, Bronze Nirvana blush from Pat McGrath, the two-tone look and how they tie in, my signature black lip with some glitter on it, a glitter gloss on it. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. So yeah, I'm happy with this look. I'm happy with this palette. My eyes are not burning. They are tearing more. And I do feel the AC blowing down on my face. And so I think that's why there is no burning. And so I'm happy about that because I was concerned when I read the ingredients of if I was going to have an issue with the 3 shades in that middle column. So thank you for being here. You will see me in the next video. Oh, got a tear. Let me go so I can take pictures. Yes, as always, self-acceptance, self-love. That is the Crazy Troll Nation way. Thank you, and you will see me soon.